I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional unceded lands of the Wolastoq people, the people of this beautiful river. I think that's a great way for us to start. I'd also like to say how incredibly blessed and honored I am to speak with all of you folks, members and workers at Umista Credit Union, not only because you are only one of a very small handful of banks and credit unions in the world that have decided to become a B Corp. That is huge, by the way. People, that's a round of applause for all of you. You might not actually know it, but it really sends the world a message when credit unions and a few banks are saying, yes, we believe in profit people on the planet. And Umista actually happens to be one of the very first group of credit unions to join up and be certified. A huge accomplishment. The other thing I'm excited about is the very fact that you, as a credit union movement, are financial leaders in what I like to call the love economy. Strange word, love. Love economy and banking. So what do I mean by the love economy? A new definition of banking in the love economy, we have to go back to Forrest Gump. But let's change the box of chocolates to a box of Jenga. Who remembers playing Jenga? Jenga was awesome. I really enjoyed Jenga because of the risk. What we did was we took the little game out of the box, and it had a predetermined size, if we all remember, and it was quite structurally sound, if we remember. But the whole point of the game is to make that tower as tall as you possibly can by taking blocks from the bottom and putting them on the top, right? And of course, like anything with limited resources, eventually the structural integrity of that tower gets weakened, doesn't it? And it's very similar to how we have built our economy. We've built our economy over the last many decades based on decisions based on greed. And as we see, what's happening as a result is a weakening structure that has a threat of a topple in the very near future unless we start to do something different, which is why I'm so excited to speak to credit union, because the credit union movement really is at the forefront of creating that shift. So identity disruption. I really want to, in a lighthearted way, also acknowledge the massive disruption that just happened in the credit union world. The word bank and banking and banker is no longer a word that you are allowed to use, we are allowed to use. That's kind of bizarre, isn't it? The president and the CEO of the Canadian Association of Credit Unions estimates that this is going to cost $80 million to change this over the next year. Think about that. All the marketing materials, all the legal documents, educating your customers and staff, saying we are no longer allowed to use the word bank. So this is disruption. It's quite an annoyance, I'm sure. I'm sure nobody's really happy about this. And I'd like to give maybe a little bit of grace to them. Perhaps they thought it was a good idea to protect people from being deceived from other non-charter bank lenders like payday loan companies and others, perhaps. But at the end of the day, the credit union movement got bundled into the non-chartered bank group that is no longer allowed to use the word bank. So let's just say and assume that we're not successful in reclaiming the word bank. And why don't we take a look at this as an opportunity? Why don't we let them keep the word bank? Think about the brand issues that banks have right now. Who thinks of something really positive and glowy and happy when we think of the word bank, right? But, okay, there we go. Okay, excellent. But when you think of a credit union, what do you think about? You think about community. You think of co-op, cooperation. You think about local, banking local, buying local, supporting local, stuff that's incredibly important to me and incredibly important to everybody in this room. Earlier, I was going to actually go into deep detail about the thousands of horrible things that have gone on the last 5 years in the banking industry. I'm just going to scroll through them. Like all of our major banks have committed horrendous scandals and have been charged millions and sometimes billions of dollars for destabilizing our economy. And I'm going to step this way so you can see it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. It's a bit of a shame. When you look, if you Google it today, just say recent bank scandals, and you won't get through it on one Google search. Like it just goes and goes and goes. So the word banking is connected to something that is actually not a very positive attribute. Right now, there's a branding problem in banking. So I'd like to suggest and propose, as the revolutionaries that we all are in this room, say, let's use that disruption as an opportunity, and let's claim it right from here, from Fredericton, New Brunswick, from Umista, and say, hold on a second. We don't want to be called a bank. It sucks that we got to pay $80 million to take the word out. But what we're going to do is consider a new word. The word bank was not invented to discuss a institution that takes care of money. A bank is the side of a river. In the dictionary, the first thing that came up for bank is a long pile or heap. So I can kind of see how that transitioned into banking, because a long pile, a stockpile, a place to keep things, you can kind of see how it evolved into a financial institution as a bank. But why don't we take the same approach of taking a word that has another meaning and just try to experiment and say, hey, what are a few other words that we could play around with? I think about steward. Steward is a person who manages another's property or financial affairs, one who administers anything at the agent of others. That's a nice word. So how about this? Let's go down to the Mr. Credit Union, talk to our steward, and put a deposit in. It's kind of nice. What about keeper? A keeper is somebody who guards or watches. Wouldn't it be actually nice to know that if you went to your bank, you put money in, and actually somebody was taking care of it, and it wasn't going to go fund terrorism acts, it wasn't going to go fund drug money, drug activity as well. So that's not somebody taking good care or keeping our money, is it? What about cultivator? I love this word. There's a shot I took when we were in India filming for the Millennial Dream. And up here is a whole bunch of farmers cultivating their gardens through a big water vessel that they built with a nice bank around the side, I must add. A cultivator is a person who promotes or improves growth by labor and attention. Once again, somebody who's taking care, kind of like a farmer. Again, wouldn't it be nice to know that you're going down to Mr. Credit Union to give your seeds to the farmers, which is the people working behind this desk, the people taking care and cultivating, helping your money grow in ethical and sustainable ways. What a concept. So the call to action we've got a whole bunch of different types of people in this room right now. We have entrepreneurs, we've got moms and dads, we've got students, we've got credit union workers. We all have an opportunity to take challenge and take disruption and create something really wonderful out of it, including a movement for positive change. And because right now, our world is going through such a period of change, and crisis is on every single headline that we read and we listen to, how about bringing up a new good news story? One where a Mr. Credit Union from Fredericton, New Brunswick, literally changes the definition of banking across the country. Not only for credit unions, but for banks. Wouldn't it be great if banks started to act more and behave more like credit unions? I'm really proud to be in New Brunswick, where, believe it or not, a lot of phenomenal world-class movements actually are born out of here. Entrepreneur space here is amazing. The social impact space is amazing. The fact that OMISTA is a B Corp, and we have so many other B Corps that are being certified in New Brunswick. We've got energy, we've got people, and we've got the vision to make change. And I really think whether you keep the name bank or not, OMISTA has a chance to be the financial leaders in the love economy. And we could talk a lot more over the next 5-10 minutes about what the love economy means, but I have out of time. I want to say thank you so much. All of us have some very exciting times ahead of us. Disruption is not a bad thing. Let's actually grab it and turn it into a positive headline. Thank you so much.